For my lesson plan presentation, the objective is students will be able to count to 120 starting at any number less than 120. The grade level is first, and they need to pass this lesson with 80% accuracy. The activity that I'm going to do is the line activity. And so I would start out by saying today we're going to use number lines to practice correct counting order. Each group will receive number lines and number cards to use on their number lines. So this is kind of an example of number lines that they would use. I would tell them I want you to start this activity by counting by ones. So they're going to use their number lines to count by ones, and then after 10 to 15 minutes they'll count by twos, and then another 10 to 15 minutes they'll count by fives. As they're doing this, I'm going to walk around, assess each group, ask questions to verify that they are counting correct order, making sure that each person in the group is having a turn counting by ones, twos, and fives. So to model it, I put a number line up in front of the board, like on the whiteboard, and then I would take a number card and demonstrate how to use it. So I say, well, the first number card I came across is 2, and I need to count by 2s on my number line. What would be my next number after 2 if I'm counting by 2? Who would like to come up and try this on the board? So I'm modeling it, but I'm also having them participate in it as well. So the student would say, I will, and then they'll say, so the number 2 goes on the number line after 1, and if I need to find 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, and then number 4 will be placed after 3. The formative questions I used throughout the whole lesson. The lesson was 5 days, but some of the questions I learned or asked was name this number, what number comes after 100, can you put these numbers in order? All these questions are tied into the lesson for me to evaluate the students' understanding. I do not grade on their activity or the formative questions. This is merely for me to assess and make sure that they are understanding everything. I evaluate students by groups, and that's when I ask the formative questions as well. So on the first day, I make sure that every student is aware of what a number is and they're able to identify it. And then we go into the fun game of counting, and that's the bucket game. I did make an incentive on it where they receive stars if they count correctly, and if they earn 3 stars, they get extra recess. I felt like it kind of would motivate them more to try harder, but it would also be fun as well. The next activity was the number lines, which I showed. The third day is practicing. They're still in groups. I'm walking around the room. I'm asking them a question to see how they're progressing. If they're struggling, then I'm going to pull them aside to work with them one-on-one. I would also pair them with other students that are understanding it so they can work with them while I'm working with other students. The fourth day is reviewing and practicing again, one-on-one together. The final day is test day, so I'll call each student up to my desk, ask them 5 questions, and they have to get 4 out of the 5 right for the 80% accuracy. I didn't have any special notes. I didn't use any special videos. For my reflection, I want to make sure that I always choose activities that keep the students engaged, and I felt like the activities I chose really worked well. I didn't have any videos in my lesson, but I think that I probably would like to add some if I did this in my classroom, because I've noticed when I've subbed that they use a lot of videos in kindergarten first for counting and letters and words and just all that stuff, and they have fun with it. So I think that would be something I'd like to add as well. For me as a student, I think just keeping things fun and motivating them is always a win-win, no matter what the age of the students are. I think adding rewards makes it even better. So like on that, where I added they could get extra recess, I feel like that would really motivate them. Teaching elements that I felt were used were individual and group accountability, face-to-face interaction, group processing, small group skills, and just having a positive environment. And that's my presentation.